lazy house hoodie.
I don't think I've ever seen you in a hoodie.
If you would have seen me last night, I had the matching sweatpants on
Ooh,
too.
like a little grout fit.
Yeah. I don't know if my mind is gonna function. I was up super late beating that alien game, so
Oh, well, I mean, I feel like this isn't really an episode where your mind has to function. Because
yeah.
this movie doesn't really function very well.
Yeah.
Already starting the beat down. How fitting though. Let me say happy Halloween to everybody.
Yeah, this is perfect.
I guess you'll know how long it takes us to edit and upload an episode, considering I'm saying happy Halloween. But yeah, very fitting movie. It's a numerical title. We're gonna be talking about 31 by good old Robert Zombie.
Just a classic.
You know when you change his name from Rob to Robert, he sounds way less like cool. Robert Zombie is not as cool as Rob Zombie.
Or Bob Zombie.
Bobby Zombie.
Bob Zombie. I'm gonna call him Bob Zombie.
Bobby Zombie.
Yeah, 31 on October 31st.
2031.
Yeah, it's unclear why. I guess it's not unclear
why it's called 31 because
it happens on
Halloween. Yeah,
you know, that's about as deep as that goes, and that's kind of an indication of everything else.
Let me just say, this is a movie we've been talking about for a real long time,
like a year at least.
And,
if not more than a year. I've been excited
since last 31.
Yeah,
probably.
I don't know if my excitement was like unjustified because I didn't even watch like House of a Thousand Corpses or Devil's Rejects until a couple months ago. But I'd seen some parts of Halloween. You know, it's brutal stuff.
Right. Let's talk a little bit before we start. Let's talk about Bobby Zombie real quick.
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel about Bobby Zombie? As someone that's recently watched.
Okay, let's excluding this movie. I think my opinion is he's someone that gets a lot of hate.
Yeah.
But I personally really like the Corpses series. You know, the House of a Thousand Corpses and Devil's Rejects. Yeah, obviously Devil's Rejects is the better of the two, but I still enjoyed the first one. It's kind of wacky and silly, and also, you know, kind of disturbing. I don't know. I thought it was fun. I didn't take it too seriously. Devil's Rejects is a little bit more serious, right? You know.
Yeah, I think Devil's Rejects is the best thing he's ever done.
Yeah, absolutely.
And ever will do for. I mean, unless he surprises me. But House of a Thousand Corpses is creepy. I don't love it, but I like it.
Yeah.
I love Devil's Rejects. I think Devil's Rejects is phenomenal. It's not even really a horror movie. It's like what would you even call it? Almost like a demented Bonnie and Clyde type.
It reminds me of like a Tarantino movie.
Yeah.
You know. But what makes more so Devil's Rejects so strong, but you know, kind of House of a Thousand Corpses too, because we see some of the roles overlap, is the strong characters. I think. There's Captain Spaulding. I'm at a loss for the other two.
Otis.
Otis.
And
is that Rob Zombie's wife in that too?
Yeah, Sherry Moon.
You know, obviously Captain Spaulding is the most iconic character. But Otis is also a really good character, and I feel like there is depth to those movies, especially Devil's Rejects, where you got the sheriff kind of going after them.
Right.
But he's not really. He kind of goes too far, right? And he kind of he gets justice in his own way, even though the villains who are the protagonists also have to get justice. Anyway, I think the characters are really good, and I think that's why those movies are all right. And I think, unfortunately, I've been thinking about this. There really weren't any characters in this movie we just watched besides one.
I'll give you one.
Besides one,
and
that's in the movie for 10 minutes total.
I think all of the acting, I'll say all of it. The bit characters at the beginning were kind of whack, but I'll say 90% of the acting in this movie is pretty good, I thought.
Hold on. I'm pulling this up now, but you're talking about 31? We're talking about 31.
We're talking about are we talking about 31?
Yeah, no, I just didn't know. 90%, you say?
Yeah, I mean, the only characters I don't like, I guess, spoilers, y'all, if you're trying to watch 31, the only characters I didn't like was that the big old lady getting banged on the bus. Look
Oh,
at that alliteration. Big old lady getting banged on the bus.
um,
But I mean, she dies off real quick, and then yeah, I think other than that, all the other actors did a pretty good job, right? Like I liked Roscoe, who's like the main dude with like the crazy facial hair. I liked his character. Um, I guess the like rich people putting on the game were kind of lame.
I liked I liked the idea of it, but there's never any explanation of who those people. Like Malcolm McDowell, I'm always happy to see him in a movie, but that didn't really ever go anywhere beyond like
They're rich and they want to watch people die.
yeah
Which I mean, I guess that's really all you need to know, right? But I
yeah
get what you're saying. It would have been nice to have a little more.
yeah. I don't know if I'd say like not like the acting was good overall. I'd say there really wasn't much acting to be done in this movie because there really wasn't much of a script. There really wasn't much of a story.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I don't.
Well, that's why I don't fault the actors themselves. I
Yeah,
think
yeah,
like the
yeah,
acting was fine.
yeah,
Like I
yeah.
liked, all the clowns.
I'm trying to think.
Like I know
I
you didn't
lost.
really like the Jamaican dude, but I
You
thought I
know,
mean like it's a goofy character, but I thought the dude did a good job with it. You know what I mean?
I was irritated that it was such a. I don't. Maybe other people wouldn't feel this way, but it was such a stereotype, and I feel
Yeah,
like
it really was.
why did he have to be like super like stereotypical African American. I don't know.
Jamaican,
And
smokes
there's a lot
weed,
of
like
the all the we can talk about this more at another time, I guess. But just the overbearing, and it's always Rob Zombie's always very overbearing with like his uh, crude sexual language and
right.
imagery. But in this film, I felt like it was just to such distaste for no reason, with terrible lines such as I quote at one point, "Sucky, sucky, fucky, fucky." That like literally,
money.
yeah. There was something with the three women that were doing. I don't know if they were doing prostitute work, but you never really know. And this film kicks into 31 into this game so quickly that you don't even know anything about these characters.
Right, other than that they're carnival workers.
I don't care what
Which I
happens to
guess you
them.
don't really know that, right? I mean,
Are they carnival workers?
yeah,
Yeah, I didn't know
they're
that.
like a traveling circus
I don't know.
type thing.
Also, well, let's okay before we talk anymore, because as you can probably already tell, we don't really have very much good things to say about very many good things to say about this film, unfortunately, because we've been looking forward to it. um I don't know, I thought it could have done everything better, and we can talk about maybe the few things that it did do that I think we liked. But before we do that, um have we, I mean, do we need to or not summarize, but
A plot summary.
just before we get into any more spoilers, I think we've already dropped a few. Um,
This episode's
what
already a
should
shit
people
show.
know?
It's Halloween. I ate way too much candy
Yeah, already.
already.
It's 1 o'clock. It's 1:30. I just rolled out of bed. I've been killing aliens all night.
I've been eating candy since midnight, nonstop. I've been eating candy, and I've had the Nightmare Before Christmas on repeat. So I've seen it probably like 6 times.
Okay, so 31. It's about a group of carnival workers, a group of people that get kidnapped by some sadistic
Rich
people that
Donald
force
Trumps.
them. Yeah, Donald Trump's, Malcolm McDowell.
Is Donald Trump
Yep.
in real life? I mean,
Yeah,
you didn't know that?
reprising his role here.
Yeah.
It's part of the campaign.
Yes. Yeah.
Mhm.
This is just a big Trump propaganda film.
Yeah. So they force this group to play a game called 31, where they must survive for 12 hours in a gauntlet of kind of like video game boss serial killers.
Yeah.
That, it's an interesting
I
concept.
love the concept.
It was a little bit
Love
cool.
it.
A little bit. It was
And
a
how
little
relevant,
bit cool.
too, with all the clown people popping up
Yeah.
in the real world. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? A lot of people thought that like that was a marketing thing for this movie, and Rob Zombie was like, no.
Well, it was in production for so long
Right.
before, which you wouldn't really be able to tell. But anyway, that was one of the things that we can talk about that a little more. But as we were watching, one of the only silver linings was like, it's kind of cool. It's like a
Like, what's next? What's the next?
yeah.
Like,
Although they introduced the first mini boss. I don't know. The first serial killer, the first psychopath, the first whatever you will. And there's not really. I didn't understand if he was the only
That's
one,
what I thought.
or if
Yeah,
no setup again.
I was like, is this gonna be the main dude the whole time? Like, what is going on right now? And
Right.
like, I feel like it would have been fine if he wasn't the first one, because I don't think he was like a very good first villain. I don't know. Like, I think the
Yeah.
Chainsaw Brothers were probably
Yeah.
better first villains.
Yeah. Villain number one. Serial killer number one. Well, we'll get into the serial killers in a minute, but just with the overt like Hitler imagery, and he's like got these cute little nursery rhymes that are pretty like dumb in my opinion.
Right, and he does
Uh,
speaks a lot of Spanish.
yeah, he speaks a lot of Spanish, but it doesn't make any sense.
One of the funniest things I've seen in a film this year is the scene where Sherry Moon Zombie's character, whose name is
Oh,
Charlie.
Charlie.
Uh, she's like having a standoff with this guy whose name is Sickhead, because all the clowns have blank head names. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, who was
And
Sickhead?
he's the little man.
The little man,
He's the Gimli.
the Hitler lookalike.
Yeah, they're like having a standoff, and they just are speaking Spanish back and forth to each other
With no
no
subtitles.
subtitles.
I think it's supposed to be absurd, but it still doesn't make.
And then, like, she
I
just
don't
starts speaking Spanish out of nowhere. Like,
Yeah,
where did that come from? I was dying.
yeah, yeah. Anyway, and so that's the movie. There's a gauntlet of probably like, and there's not really that many serial killers either. Or killers or combatants. There could have been more. I don't know. It feels very sparse. It's kind of a long movie. It feels like it could have been shorter, or
It
there's
could have been a short film. I feel
yeah,
like.
yeah, yeah. However, there is one character in this film that I think is excellent, on the same level that someone like Captain Spaulding was,
Yeah,
and that's Doomhead, right?
yeah. Played
Um,
by what's his name? You got his name?
Richard Brake.
Richard Brake.
The beginning film,
Dick Brake.
Dick Dick Brake. The beginning film scene in this film, the beginning film in this scene is great.
The beginning zombie of this Bob.
Yeah. And it just doesn't make sense because you get introduced to this great character called Doomhead, and he literally is in the film for probably 2 minutes. He has this great monologue.
It's the best part of the movie. I think the opening scene and the closing scene are the best parts
Yeah.
of this movie.
And then he's not in the film again until about 10 minutes till the end. And I just, especially when maybe you don't realize that he's pretty much your only good character, but I don't know I just don't understand that decision, to not utilize a good character.
Yeah, I guess it would have been cool. I mean, I get why they didn't, to have him be like the final boss, have him like come out.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, it was an oh shit moment, definitely, but it just felt like because he was the only good character, I don't know. Those were the only parts of the movie that got me like kind of excited. Okay, so that's what you're in for. We can get in. We'll get into more specifics about what exactly we think made this movie so bad. I think, and before we do that, I mean, who is it for? Should you watch it at all? If you like Rob Zombie, should you watch it at all? If you like horror and gore, should you watch it? I don't know.
no.
I don't think so.
No.
This is one of the.
You know what you can do? You can watch the trailer, because see, I feel like this is the opposite. I always tell people like, don't watch the trailer.
Yeah.
For this one, watch the trailer, because I'm pretty sure the trailer, you get that opening monologue from Doomhead in the trailer.
Oh, okay.
And that's the best part by far. When he's like, you're gonna have to die sometime. Might as well be here. Might as well be me killing you.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
But
No, what I was gonna say is I think this is the worst, not only worst horror movie I've seen since, but the worst movie I've seen since The Green Inferno. I think it's the worst horror movie I've seen.
I'd have to
Maybe-
check my
You know.
Hashtag Letterboxed, who have yet to contact us for sponsorship, motherfuckers.
Well,
I wonder why.
I think so. I think thinking back, I haven't seen a worse movie. I haven't felt like I wasted my time on a movie since that movie. And with this movie, like even while we were watching it, I think you turned to me and said, "This is terrible."
Yeah,
Because
it
this is
was. It was to the point where I was like, I probably would have walked out of the theater if like I don't know. I
if we
guess I
weren't
wouldn't have
talking
walked.
about.
I guess I wouldn't have walked out of the. Maybe I would have walked out of the theater. Oh, X-Men Apocalypse was pretty bad. I also didn't like Neon Demon very much, but I would say
Oh,
that
that's right. We disagreed greatly on that one.
I would say that those movies are all better than 31.
Yeah, I don't know. Don't watch it. Listen to this podcast instead, and we'll tell you what you need to know because I don't know why. I don't know if there's a reason to watch this movie because, I mean, it's gory kind of, but it doesn't really do anything that's shocking in that realm.
Yeah. No, the gore, the murder scenes are pretty terrible because it pulls its punches. You know what I mean? Like the camera cuts away
Right.
like when they cut somebody or like I mean, I guess there's that scene where they cut off the one dude's head. That's pretty brutal. Um but
Yeah. Even then, excuse me. Even then, it's like the camera work. I was commenting on that kind of while we were
god
watching it.
awful. I felt sick. It's I've never been someone that's like oh, the shaky camera
The
made me
motion,
feel
yeah.
sick, but this movie made me feel like uncomfortable.
Yeah, even
And
in
you did it on purpose. You know what I mean? Like,
I don't.
no.
I don't understand. Like, and there was even one scene where there was nothing happening and the camera was shaking.
Shaking.
Like, and you were like, they couldn't hold the camera still here, and I was like, I don't know.
And then there's the part where the strobe lights come on and the camera's shaking and it's cutting to all these weird camera angles.
It's
and
a nightmare.
I couldn't.
Yeah.
I had to turn away from the screen. I couldn't look at it.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely absurd. It made there's a lot of fight scenes, and it made all of the fight scenes so unbearable to watch because you can't even tell what's going on.
The when they first get kidnapped by the 31 people, like so there's what 7 people in the van at the start of the movie, and then there's 5 that play 31.
There's 8 people in the van because 3 of them get killed. There's a driver. There's 2 women that are. I feel like they're kind of being pimped by the.
Who are the other 2 women?
By the other woman.
There's the one that the dude was banging in the back of the bus.
Yeah, and then there's the woman that was into Roscoe. He was talking about like gorillas, and she.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
there was 2.
When they
See,
killed.
they're so forgettable because they die, but you don't see it happen on camera. Really, like you do, but it's like so poorly shot.
Yeah,
that you
it's
can't tell.
it's mind-boggling to me. It's almost as if Bob was
Bobbert.
like, I don't want to develop these characters. Not that any of the other ones are developed really, but I don't want to even mess with these characters. So he killed. It doesn't make sense.
I just don't get why you would limit your body count by killing off characters in stupid ways, especially when you've got
Yeah.
characters. Like you've got tons of unique ways that you could have killed people
And
off.
those people didn't need to die right there.
Right. You could have killed one. You could all. I mean, unless you want to make the argument that 31 has to be played with 5 people.
There's never, yeah, but that's never stated, right?
No,
So,
I mean there's references to it, like when the guy's like
number 4 always
number
dies
4.
first.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But still, I mean, you could play it with kill. Like I guess you could make the argument that he did that to show that like these people were evil. But I mean, you kill somebody off right at the start to show that you could, like it's just there's so many better ways to do it, and especially since the deaths in this movie aren't very good, none of them.
Yeah, I think there was. I'm really trying to remember anything that I thought was like brutal, quote unquote. I think there's a point where one of the video game bosses is chainsawing a woman on the ground. That is, is gory.
That was the worst part.
I don't know.
Like as far as like gore goes.
If you're squeamish, yeah. But other than that, I mean, even the way that, and I think we're in spoilers now. So if you really do want to watch this movie, for some reason,
Just
go
kill yourself
do it.
instead.
No, even when Doomhead comes in at the end, which is one of the better parts of the
Right.
movie, even the way he kills people, he's just got these two knives, and it's just he just kind of like shanks people.
Right. Well, and
It's
even
like
when he
I don't
killed
know.
people, when he killed that dude in the beginning, I guess it was brutal. Like the idea of him hitting him in like the stomach with an axe over and over, like an unsharpened axe, he says.
Yeah,
But the camera work doesn't convey that.
yeah, yeah. The camera in every instance, the camera work kind of undermines the brutality of the killings. Um, in a way, in most cases, where you kind of can't even tell what's going on,
Right.
honestly. And there are other times when like you thought that characters were dead. Like the first kind of killer is gonna kill someone, and it just literally cuts away, and then he's somehow not dead. Just stuff like that just kind of doesn't make sense. Um,
Um,
so the camera work was
Another part of the camera work is the freeze frames.
yeah, and that's
It's a Rob Zombie staple,
right.
which I appreciate Rob Zombie's flavor. I'm a big, I guess I'd say I'm a zombie fan. I liked Halloween. I liked Lords of Salem. I like Devils. I like most of his
I
movies.
think in those first two movies, especially Corpses and Rejects, the quirkiness, some of the freeze frames and slow mo, and double takes, it worked. It was funny at least. It
Right.
worked. In this movie, I think it's funny like once, but it really is just kind of thrown in there at random times when it doesn't make sense at all. Like
Yeah, they'll just be like doing something, and then it's like freeze frame.
yeah, on
It's
like
like,
Charlie's face.
what?
Yeah,
Why?
yeah.
Um,
No, it's
there was even a couple parts I think where like you called out the freeze frame. Like you're like, here comes a freeze frame.
yeah.
Like you can just tell. And then he uses that as a way to transition scenes, which is so boring. Like it'll freeze frame and then like the
The camera will like slide to the right,
yeah, the
slide down.
slide to the right, and then they're just in an entirely new location. It's like, what is going on?
There was one that I thought was cool where it almost was like comic booky, where it froze. It was right when they got placed into this factory. The whole movie takes place in this foundry, this factory, and we'll talk about that in a minute because this setting and kind of the non-linear uh, way that this movie develops was also a big problem, I think.
Yeah.
But so they end up when they first get captured, they're in that cathedral, which I thought looked really cool. I don't know where that's supposed to be, but they're in this crazy cathedral
Right.
where Malcolm McDowell and these two women are dressed up like dukes, like kings and queens with these wigs
Powdered wigs.
and makeup. And it's kind of cool. And then, of course, when they right before they're thrown into the gauntlet, it does that freeze frame, kind of slides to the right and down, but it kind of slides into that factory setting with the weird lights. I thought it was a little bit cool.
It still doesn't make any sense
No,
because they're
it
like all
doesn't.
chained up,
Yeah.
and then they're just in this factory.
Right.
They're all separated in a factory, and they have weapons. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I guess you could assume that the henchman that kidnapped them knocked them out again and put them there.
It's really hard to
But
and this movie doesn't even try to explain how characters get where they are, how the progression happens,
right,
because the whole film is just like these characters ending up in different rooms with different colored lights and strobes where you can't really ever tell what's going on. Every room doesn't look the same, but because there are a couple rooms like they have a meal at one point and it
yeah,
looks like a kind of a spooky graveyard, and then there's a
the
circus tent scene.
the Chainsaw Brothers.
Those are
lair.
like the only two instances of scenes where there's a little variation. Because other than that, it's just
Yeah.
characters wandering through this maze of pipes that, quite honestly, looks unremarkable.
Yeah,
Other than
they put some different colored lights on.
some colored
Yeah.
lights that you could have bought from Halloween USA.
Shout out Halloween USA, sponsor us.
Yeah, I don't know if that was the intention to make it look like a cheap haunted house the whole time.
Maybe, but
don't know.
I don't like unless it like I don't like excusing something that looks poorly done.
Yeah, no, I don't.
And making it like it was done on purpose thing. You know what I mean? Because it's still poorly done,
Right. Well, I wouldn't give anything happening here much credit. You know what I mean?
except for Doomhead,
Yeah,
best part of the movie.
yeah. But we had just talked about, I think you had mentioned this while we were watching it. Just like there's literally no sense of progression.
Right.
It's like
It's like just different set pieces. You know what I mean? It's like
yeah,
this happens, this happens. There's no and then this happened.
Yeah.
Like it's just like
right.
yeah, I don't know. It was whack.
It's almost just like different snapshots of like
Yeah.
things happening, but other than the fact that the only way to tell that time has progressed, I feel like, is that some characters are dead. You
Right, and
know,
then they give you like the periodic announcements, like there's 6 hours left, and then they give them the probabilities. Like
right? So what?
each character's got a chance to survive that they decide on.
Yeah, so everybody's got their numbered numbers, and after every what is it? After every boss kill, they kind of
Pretty
reset the
much
probabilities. Malcolm
the
McDowell and
odds,
these rich people are
50 to
like, all right, we're gonna
1.
recalculate the probabilities. You have a 100 to 1 chance to survive. You have a 1 million to 1 chance. But there was one point where they didn't do that,
And
and
then
you
they just
called it
stop
out.
doing it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think the very last one they didn't even do it, which really bothered me.
Like, how cool would it have been if they introduced Doomhead, right? Like, they're like, okay, now, like, Doomhead's coming in. And then, like, they get on there and say, like, you all have a million billion. You know, like,
To one, yeah,
yeah, just ridiculous
huge
odds
oversight.
because, like, Doomhead's, like, the shit.
Yeah, I don't understand. Maybe they were spooked because they
I
were
want a
just
Doomhead
trying
action
to.
figure.
That'd be cool. Captain Spaulding, Doomhead.
Michael Myers.
I'd take like a Doctor Satan bobblehead.
Dr. Satan, bobblehead,
Um,
holding a hot dog.
maybe an Otis bobblehead.
Yeah. I like Otis better than Captain
The
Spaulding.
point is, just all those characters are memorable. I think maybe a couple of maybe not Doctors. I mean, I think Doctor Satan kind of is just because
It
it's an
is,
interesting
yeah.
idea. Doomhead's memorable. Nobody else and nothing else in this movie is memorable. I don't think that besides like that opening scene.
The closing scene, so when Doomhead chases Charlie down, and there's that low angle up close shot of him like smiling real big.
Yeah, and he's got blood in his mouth because he
Yeah.
punches his own face to get
That,
himself
and then like
psyched
when he's
out.
getting ready, to like come kill him, and he like
Right, when you
dresses
see
up
him
and
put his
punches
makeup
himself,
on
and he looks
and-
like Nosferatu. I thought that was cool.
Right, well, yeah, and he's kind of literally. Well, they show in Nosferatu.
Video. Well, he's banging that chick watching Nosferatu.
Yeah, and then he.
Which was completely ridiculous.
No,
They're
it's
like, we need
absurd.
Doomhead, and he's just pounding away.
Yeah.
And isn't there a line? He's like,
I just pulled out of some verbatim, some whore's crusty ass, and it's like
no, he says it to the girl. He's like, she's like, can I
Oh.
take a shower? He's like,
hit
hit the
bricks.
road with your stanky like.
And I think you were he's like hit the bricks with that stanky shit, and you were like, man, like Rob Zombie's just been wanting to say that to somebody,
Right,
his
and
whole
he's
life.
like, I'll write
or
it into a
something.
movie.
No, and that's just another example of like if you're like. I know Rob Zombie probably doesn't care about this. Like, I'm sure he doesn't. But like, you're
Rob
literally.
Zombie's actually a big fan of the podcast.
Did he tweet us?
Yeah, he tweets us daily. He's kind of annoying.
All right. Well, sorry, Bob. You really fucked up on this one. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. No, but just to get back to this, just extremely, extremely crude to say the least. Sexual language. You're alienating your female audience because you're literally just being like terrible.
I don't know if Rob Zombie gives.
I know he doesn't give a fuck.
Gives a care.
But it's just what in 2016. I don't know if you need to be making a movie that is this crude.
Well, I think
that aspect,
Zombies making a movie that's he's trying to bring it back to like 70s, 80s vibe where they just
Right.
don't care. But
Yeah. Well, I just don't think that's helping anything or anyone. However, the point is there's no point to do that
right,
in a movie where there is no point. Maybe if your characters, obviously none of these characters are supposed to be good, but it's just everywhere you look is like some dumb statement about like a woman's genitals or whatever, and it's just like, I don't know.
hit the bricks.
Yeah, you could have written something actually like interesting, but maybe that would be asking a little too much. However, yeah, that scene is good. The way that Doomhead kind of glides around, dressed up as Nosferatu, even
That's
with
really-
the kind of
that's-
suit. It's subtle. It's one of the only nuances in the film that it was good.
Right. The part where they're just like, here's the exit. Like they just find the exit.
Yeah, well, and the exit is
Like a
like a
sewer
pipe
grate.
that
Yeah.
goes down to another sewer where suddenly it's daylight and there's no trace of this factory and it's the middle of the day and it was just night. And there's other things in the movie like that that really break the linearity, like when one of their friends gets killed and they end up eating him like literally 2 minutes
Right.
later. But and these people had time to prepare this body and cut it up, and it just doesn't. It's just supposed to be taking place like hours later. Like I don't get it, man, and it really throws me off. You know,
I don't. Yeah. Maybe you need to be as high as the Jamaican man is in this movie to understand it.
um. So other stuff we've talked about the camera work. It's god awful. We've talked about, you know, the fact that there really isn't a sense of progression at all. Um,
And other than Doomhead, like I feel like the characters aren't very scary. Like the clowns, like the big German dude, I don't feel like was very scary.
yeah, I don't. Well, the one cool thing about the killers is that their humanity begins to show, not
Yeah.
with
Oh,
the first one.
I liked you made the point where like they're about to kill one of the clown brothers, the chainsaw brothers, and one of them says something like don't kill me, like they make me do it. I'm just a pawn in it, like you are.
Yeah,
Which you were like, well, maybe if someone survives the night, they end up having to stay and fight the next group of people,
yeah,
which would have been a cool twist,
that would have
but
been cool.
they never.
Yeah, that doesn't get expounded upon.
Nope, nada. I don't know. I don't really know if I have much else to say about this piece of shit.
Yeah, it really is a shame, honestly. I don't know, having seen other Rob Zombie films, I don't really know if I should have expected anything better. But
I did.
I expected better characters.
I I honestly think if the camera work would have been better, and if the transitions between scenes would have been better, I would have liked this movie.
Well, and if there would have been any personality in,
So if the whole movie was
yeah,
completely different, we would have liked
sadly,
it.
but with Doomhead still being a character.
Yeah, I think you could have kept all the characters. Just give them more to work with.
Give them anything to work with besides literally all. I don't even know if anything is discussed besides like just like dumb, crude, like sexual discussion and like talking about killing people. Like there's no depth anywhere. I don't know. Like, but is there depth in Devil's Rejects? Like, why are those better movies? Like they are because those. I'm like I said, because the characters are good.
I also
Right?
think the camera works a lot better in those
Yeah.
movies. Like it's and the storyline's more coherent.
Yeah. Well, there is a storyline. I'm sorry. There's no story. There really is no. There's things that happen in this movie. There's no
Right.
story. There isn't.
What's the moral of 31? What's the theme?
Oh, even when you win, you lose. Probably right.
I guess.
I hated the ending. Did we talk about the end?
I liked the way Doomhead looked,
No, I know, but just
and I liked that they were playing a Dream On. Rob Zombie classic right there. Everybody knows that that's a Rob Zombie song. Right?
yeah. I feel like it was an attempt to do a similar thing that he did in The Devil's Rejects,
Right.
where they kind of ride toward the police and get torn up. And in this
Listening
one,
to Rob Zombie's Freebird.
you know, yeah, even though Charlie wins, right, and these wigged rich people go back to whatever lives they have. I wish we would have seen a shot of them going to like going
a
to like
cityscape or something,
a Senate job or something.
Yeah, or like a big bank office.
Yeah, but we don't. Even though she wins, she doesn't. I mean, he just the implication is that Doomhead goes and kills her anyway, which I mean, I don't know. I
didn't feel like fit his character.
Yeah, that's not interesting. I mean, because he respected her. He said that he respected her right before as he was gonna kill her, and then the alarm sounds, and the game's over, and he's like, "Fuck." Yeah, I didn't felt like it made sense, and then he rides up on the road as she's walking, and just there's a cool it's a cool standoff, but like there's no closure, and there doesn't need to be like closure, I guess, but like there's no impact at all.
Right.
Besides a cool
And
shot of him.
Steven Tyler's just yelling "Dream On" in the background.
Yeah,
Dang. Guest appearance from Steven Tyler. Steven Tyler is in your basement, chained up, just yelling "Dream On." He's trying to get word out to the outside world.
that he's down here just to
He's
drink,
down
just
here
to drink.
chained up.
Oh, I'll Don't breathe.
Yeah.
I'm trying to make him have my babies.
Well, I mean, it's pretty questionable whether Steven Tyler's a man or a woman.
Yeah,
Stephanie Taylor.
Stephanie Taylor. Yeah, I never thought about that.
And on
before.
that note,
Yeah, I don't know, guys. It's not good. I don't know if I would watch another. Rob
would you
Zombie
rather
film.
watch? Would you rather rewatch 31 or Green Inferno?
I don't know. They're both like two of the worst movies I've ever seen. So like, what would you watch? Because I don't.
What would I watch?
I'd probably rather die than watch either.
I'd rather sit through a whole Aerosmith concert.
A whole Stephanie Taylor concert.
A whole just of him, her, screaming "Dream On."
Dream until your babies come true. Well, that's
Happy Halloween, everybody!
Yeah, that's Rob Zombie. That's 31. We don't know what we're gonna do next.
Trick or treat. You're definitely getting tricked if you pay money to watch this movie. What are we doing next? We're talking about
hopefully something better than this.
I think anything would be better than this. Jesus Christ. Sorry for not being like super on schedule, everybody. When's the last one we did? Like a month ago? 2 months ago?
Blair Witch was 3 weeks ago. Yeah.
Okay.
There's
Maybe
not
this
much,
would be a monthly podcast.
I don't know.
Don't expect us weekly.
There's not much going on right now. What do we look at? No, there's
Train to Busan.
There's a movie called The Monster.
The Monster, which, yeah.
Train to Busan is supposed to be a good zombie movie.
I kind of really want to do that one.
Yeah, I'll check that out. Other than that,
It's the highest grossing film in Korea ever.
Is it? Is it
I
a
think
Korean
so.
film?
It's Korean, yeah.
Oh, cool.
We haven't done a foreign film in a minute. Maybe we should get some little
Baskin was the last one, yeah.
little foreign, which was 2 episodes ago.
But technically it was, I don't want to say how long ago it was, but it took me a very long time ago. But we took a little hiatus.
We're pretty good at taking hiatuses.
Yeah. If the podcast was based around that, I think it would be very successful.
A hiatus podcast.
Yeah. Kind of keeping everybody on their toes. Like, when is it going to come back?
We're like the Ramstein of podcasts.
This is the 20th episode.
Really?
Kind of feels like we've done more, but it's been a year. So, yeah, this is number 20.
Wow.
Not number 31.
We can label it 31.
Fortunately. But yeah, I don't know. Rings is coming out next year. That doesn't look too good, but maybe we'll do that. Maybe we won't.
Well, that's not for another
like February,
3 months.
I think. Yeah, I'm just saying, I don't know what else is on the map right now. We're gonna have to do some scouting.
We'll probably do Train to Busan, however you pronounce it, or The Monster. Follow us on Facebook, Blood Feud Podcast, Twitter @BloodFeudPod. We're not on Instagram or Snapchat.
What would our Instagram look like? It would be a
just
picture
pictures of us in your basement.
me in like a sweatsuit.
Yeah.
Like really hot, just like sweating a lot.
Snapchat, we do 10-second reviews of movies.
That's a good idea.
I kind of thought that would be like a good idea. You know what I mean?
That is a really
But how do you
good
go
idea.
about like promoting that?
We could do a 10-second review of this. We could do a 2-second review of this one. Don't see it. That's all it would be.
Eat my ass.
All right.
Well then. Wow. Yeah, this is a little bit of a downer. How long is this episode? What are we at, like 40, 30?
Yeah, 40.
Dang. You just sat through 40 minutes of this.
Well, it's better than sitting through an hour and 40 of 31.
I remember like being like 10 minutes into that movie, into 31, and being like, Jesus Christ, you're still in an hour and a half of this.
I was okay until like the hour mark, and I think I was starting to feel like super. I mean, I wasn't okay, but I was like, all right, maybe we'll get something going here.
It was like immediately after the Doomhead scene. I was like, this movie's going to be terrible.
Well,
Have a good night, everybody. Be safe trick or treating.
happy Halloween.
Don't get kidnapped by rich megalomaniacs that want to kill you with clowns.
But if you do, I hope that
it goes better than this movie.
I hope that the story
Film
line
it.
for that kidnapping is better than
Yeah,
this movie.
film it, please, and we'll review your death. We'll review. We'll review your snuff film.
And it'll probably be better than what we
3 out of 10.
All right. Well, thanks, guys. Rob Zombie Forever, 31 plus. Let us know if we should do something. If not,
Eat my ass.